Hello everyone and welcome to the Hunter Association, your source for all things Hunter x Hunter. My name is Kaige.
And my name is Dylan.
And this week we are talking about Hunter x Hunter, the movie, Phantom Rouge.
Exciting topic.
Wow. I'm so excited.
This is a big release, don't you know?
This was huge, yeah. It's a 2013 film. And yeah, it came out like right around when the anime, I think they would have been in right around Chimera Ant, maybe not in it, but right around it.
Sounds about right, yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting timing on that one. And then, yeah, you could probably guess next week we'll be doing the other movie, Last Mission, which came out only a year later. So interesting to see that one. Oh, so by the way, our history a little bit with this movie. We both have seen this one before. I've actually seen it twice before. Dylan saw it once not long ago with me, actually. We both watched it together with another friend of ours. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's his second. This is my third. And every time I've watched it, I forgot what happened every single time. So that shows you how memorable this film is.
Shows how funny it can be, though, too. We'll get into that for sure. But yeah.
Yes.
It's a journey.
It sure is. Then, of course, after we talk about that movie, we will go through our community comments. If you'd like to join in on the community and have your comment read, be sure to comment on the YouTube version, either on the video or the community post. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to help grow our community of Hunter x Hunter fans. Additionally, if you'd like to know when new episodes are live, click the bell to enable notifications. If you're an audio listener, make sure to rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you're an audio listener, make sure to rate... Or wait, what did I just do? Did I just say the same thing twice?
I truth be told, I don't really know.
I was so locked in. Yeah, you know the drill. Rate and review. Follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod, as well as Bluesky at just THAPod for podcast-related updates and to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. If you like, you can also still email us at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com. As always, we have provided timestamps in the description if you would like to skip ahead to any of the aforementioned segments.
Nailed it.
Yeah, perfect. I am still recovering from being sick, guys, so my voice is maybe even more messed up than last week, to be honest. It sounds like it is, but I don't know.
Make sure to wish Kaige well in the comments.
Yeah, this has been rough. I took 3 sick days off work, and I didn't even tell you, Dylan. Guess what I did during those sick days?
What did you do?
I started a rewatch of 2011.
Whoa, huh?
Yeah, I didn't even tell you that. I forgot.
While watching episodes with our friend. That's... Dang, okay.
Yeah, so we're doing... I'm doing 2 rewatches at the same time, technically.
That's really cool, though.
I'm up to... I just started York New today.
Whoa. So, you've been grinding. Holy, dude.
So it's all I did. I couldn't leave my bed, so I just sat and watched it all day for 3 days.
Hey, I respect it, though. I respect it.
Yeah, so that's been fun. Maybe I'll keep you updated on how I'm going with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, for news this week, we had a... so this is actually last week's news, this first bit here, but we forgot to report on it. Net Impact will be playable at Jump Festa this year, so coming up in like 2 or a week?
It's coming up soon now. I think it's a week, right? 21st?
Yeah, a little over a week.
Or
a bit, just about a week. Yeah, just about a week.
Yeah. So
yeah, next weekend. Okay, cool. So yeah,
we should hopefully get a lot of exciting news on a lot of things.
Yes, tons of stuff. Maybe even more Hunter x Hunter related news. We'll see. Maybe we'll get the return date. Hey,
would be fantastic. I'm not keeping my hopes up though.
No. Don't get expectations too high, but it'd be cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, so hopefully we'll get some cool gameplay from that though. Should be a new build, I think. Couple of new playable characters, right, in that build?
Yeah, I think Chrollo will be playable for the first time there, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
A couple of other characters. So, I think it's 10 out of the 14 that's been announced for the base roster, something like that.
I think there's 16 or maybe not. I don't know, something like that.
In that ballpark somewhere, yeah. But 10 playable.
And also, Net Impact, we had a Moral trailer, or Morel. I have no idea how to say his name, to be honest. I don't know which one it is, but one of those two.
Tomato, right?
Yeah. he looked awesome actually. Really interesting moveset.
Yeah, he's like a big brawly character, but like with some puppet characteristics too. It seems like
Yeah.
like it's really interesting with like the deep purple stuff. Seemed really cool.
Yeah.
Me and Cage noticed immediately he had like a Zangief like super, which was really funny.
He did.
But he looks cool. He looks really, really sick.
Absolutely, yeah. And they also showed off Nove's room as a stage, which I thought was a pretty cool addition.
Nice simple
it's like a
one.
good training room-esque stage there.
Now we're only missing Kite now in terms of gameplay shown. Saving the best for last. I respect it.
The last one. I'm super curious to see how he plays.
Yeah, he'll be the most creative one for sure. Just due to his net ability, obviously. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Kind of have to get creative. Maybe we'll finally get his other slot roles revealed.
Imagine if the game is how that's revealed. Holy.
Not happening.
No.
We could dream. And there was a little bit of manga progress this week. He did a couple drafts. He ate a banana.
He savored it. He almost cried.
He did almost cry. Yeah, nothing too notable though. He's today's tweet was a little more hopeful. He sounded to be in higher spirits, which is nice.
Yeah, it was something along the lines of like he's extremely happy whenever characters kind of exceed past the original vision or something along those lines. But he sounded really in high hopes in today's tweet.
Yeah.
So here's hoping he's on the mend because it sounds like he's been through some rough stuff in the last few weeks.
Absolutely, yeah. And lastly, for us, you can, as if you saw our video, our little 4-minute long thing earlier today, we are doing a live stream on January 11th as well. Hey, look at that!
Yeah,
on the video version, holding up the grand prize for the giveaway that we will be announcing the winner of on that live stream.
Yeah, this is very hard to hold. Please acknowledge me on that.
Dylan spent like 2 hours last night trying to get that thumbnail photo. So.
It felt like 2 hours for certain. I think it was like 50 plus takes of me trying to get that thumbnail right. It was pain, but hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yes. So yeah, we'll be doing that giveaway. You can enter in the description, and we'll announce that winner on January 11th with that live stream where we'll be doing a couple other things, playing some Hunter x Hunter games, doing a Q&A, just chatting with you guys. So be there.
Yeah, it'll be a great time. Be sure to, carve out the time if you haven't already.
Absolutely. All right, and with that, let us dive into Phantom Rouge.
Let's.
All right, welcome to our coverage of Hunter x Hunter, the movie, Phantom Rouge. So,
critically
we're trying
acclaimed.
something. Oh, critically acclaimed, yeah, masterpiece film. So we're trying something new this time around. You'll remember if you've been with us for a while at least, you'll remember our old volume recaps, which is similar to what is happening here. But we're gonna back then, I would write very in-depth and long plot summaries that took a long time to read, and it felt like it was always really difficult for Dylan to get a word in. So we've come up with a new thing, which I hope works. Any feedback would be nice to hear about this new idea we're doing here, because we might be able to use this again going forward in the future for other projects. But we're using these two movies here as kind of a test run of this new style of recapping. So basically, both me and Dylan have the movie just pulled up in front of us. We're going to be sometimes letting it play, sometimes not, just kind of like pausing, going through the whole thing and recapping it based on just like sight and memory. Like I'm looking at what's happening, and I'm going to tell you guys what happened and what we want to talk about. Dylan and I both wrote notes also that we're going to look through and remember our talking points that we wanted to bring up. So yeah, should work out. I think it sounds pretty doable. Should be easier for Dylan to speak this time around.
Yeah, and obviously, spoilers going into this movie if you care about it for Phantom Rouge at all. So keep that in mind as you go through the episode, and
Yes.
hopefully we can provide some good discussion and talking points on this movie, because I think it's really interesting despite the critical response to the movie.
Yeah, there's definitely things to talk about. A lot of you guys dunked on it. We dunked on it as well. There's plenty to dunk on, believe me. But there are some things that we can talk about here. Hence why we're talking about it. So, the movie actually opens up with like a little Hunterpedia segment with Chibi, Gon, and Killua giving like a recap of what's going on, like what happened in the before wherever this would have taken place.
That'll be another talking
which
point
doesn't.
later. But
Yeah, this movie cannot possibly happen. Nothing makes sense at all.
it's the
Oh,
chibi section is like really cute though. I actually really liked how
Yeah.
it opens with that. It kind of gives a refresher on the characters in general that'll be in the movie.
Yeah, like little motivations of like the troop and Leorio and Hisoka and Kurapika, all the people that are in the movie. And yeah, so then we open up with what you probably wouldn't expect this movie, because something we'll talk about immediately, I guess, is just the fact that anytime you look up something about this movie, all you see is Kurapika. Like, he's on the poster, like the big main poster is just his eye. Like, wow, okay, this big Kurapika focus, I guess. Mm-hmm. But then, well, I'm assuming you guys have watched the movie if you're listening to this. He's barely in it. He doesn't do anything. Like,
it's so sad at the same time too. Like, he's actually just in like maybe 15% of the movie maximum.
If that, yeah. And yeah, this is further cemented by the way this movie opens with Killua, who I would argue throughout the whole run of this movie, he kind of reads as the protagonist.
Yeah, I would say so too.
To be honest, if I wasn't a Hunter x Hunter fan and I watched this movie in isolation, I would probably walk away from this thinking Killua was the main character.
Yeah, and I wouldn't blame anybody for thinking that. This was their first, God forbid, their first Hunter x Hunter experience.
Yeah, don't make that happen.
And it helped. That is further cemented by like how like actually really cool this opening sequence to the movie is.
Yes.
Maybe you want to get into that now, Kaige.
Absolutely. So yeah, actually very interesting sequence to open up with. We open with Killua and Illumi on a roof. Seemingly Killua's about to do like some kind of assassination job. Illumi's doing Illumi stuff. He's kind of egging him on, being like, oh yeah, you want to kill these guys? Or, he's talking about Gon's relationship. How the whole thing about Illumi being like, oh, well, one day you'll kill him. The whole deal.
You'll never have any friends. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Classic Illumi bullshit.
Very manipulative.
Of course. And then Killua jumps off the roof and dies, and that's the end of the movie. Just kidding. He actually kills this guy. I don't know who it is. His target. And it's a pretty well animated scene. It looked awesome. I love Killua's clothes in this part. It's
you mentioned it's like the Kingdom Hearts fit, right?
Yeah, it's like it's a very Kingdom Hearts-esque outfit. Illumi's also wearing different clothes throughout this movie. You'll notice that, well, Illumi's actually not technically in this movie at all, but he is also in a way. We'll talk about that later. And then after his job, Killua walks down like an alleyway, and he sees these like kids playing, and they kick his ball over to him, and then Illumi does more Illumi bullshit, and then he goes and kills those kids.
It's pretty brutal. Like, whoa. Okay, man, calm down.
Yeah. But then Killua wakes up.
It was all a dream.
It was a dream. It was all a dream, of course.
But
so yeah, interesting way to open up a movie about Kurapika. Right?
Yeah, that's the thing. You would think that's very weird going into it with all the promotional material, but it's a strong way to start the movie, and it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the movie as well, for like a central plot point as well, with Killua and Gon's dynamic specifically. Which, like, hey, if it isn't broke, don't fix it when it comes to that, right? Like, that's always been a very like cool theme to explore within Hunter x Hunter. So. Hey, if we're gonna get more of that in a movie, like, I'm down. But it is very weird knowing that, Kurapika's advertised literally everywhere, and he's not even in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it's super strange. Like, we don't open with him at all. It's just those two, and it is like whenever you actually get through with the movie, it makes sense. I mean, this movie is actually largely about Gon and Killua's relationship, but for some reason they just splattered Kurapika on everything. And I honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if that's because of the manga, because obviously at this point Kurapika is the main character in the manga. So I wonder if they just wanted it to be like, have him as the front-facing thing because manga relevancy, but at the same time the anime was also still airing and Kurapika was not in that at all at this point. So
Right.
I don't know. It doesn't.
I'd be curious to
make a whole
go
lot of sense.
into like to dig up like old interviews relating to the movie about like what maybe their intention was behind it, because I feel like there's something there. Like I'm not really sure.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, they're on they're on an airship here. They're heading to somewhere. I don't really know. I guess it's York New City. But it's again, this doesn't make sense because York New City would have had to have like happened already based on what we're seeing later in the movie. But it's like they're doing like the whole meetup thing again, but for the first time.
Yeah,
It's very strange. It doesn't make any sense at all.
because me and Cage both thought when looking at this scene and watching this the first time, and even on this rewatch, like,
Yeah.
this is the beginning of York New. That's interesting. And then you get later
Yeah.
into the movie and it falls apart, like that logic. But
Yep.
that'll come up later. But it's something to note right now because I think it's important when we get to that point.
Yeah. But yeah, so for some reason, the four of them are meeting up somewhere again. I don't know if this is York. I don't think it's York New.
You don't think it's York New itself?
It doesn't like look like it, but it might be. I don't know. It's impossible. There's like no.
I don't think they ever.
There's
named
nothing
the city.
notable.
So
No,
like,
as far as I know, they don't. Maybe at the end we can look again because remember they're like, oh, ticket or like departure from blank.
oh right.
So maybe it says it there, but I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, they meet up with Leorio first of all, and he explains to them that he met up with Kurapika earlier, but something happened with him. He met an old friend of his apparently,
Oh.
and that's when we get a little flashback of Kurapika meeting who we know as Pyro. He's still the same age as he was when he would have died.
Yeah, so that's already a red flag.
Yeah, something's up. His eyes are closed the whole time, and he asks Kurapika he wants to touch his face. I mean, he wasn't blind before, but he was, legally blind, I guess you would say. What's the right way to say that?
I don't know.
Visually impaired.
Yes.
Visually impaired.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, he goes up to Pyro and Pyro touches his face, and then he opens his eyes, and there are no eyes.
It's pretty creepy. I kind of like it.
It's actually a really cool visual, yeah. And so then like light comes out of his eyes, and he sucks. We know he sucks Kurapika's eyes out and takes them for himself. And then it kind of just like, it just like blows through it, and Pyro beats his ass somehow, and.
It's a very short sequence where Pyro just like decimates both Leorio and Kurapika. It's really
which fair enough for Leorio, I guess, at this point. But I mean, and I guess Kurapika's blind, whatever. But the thing that makes this funny is later what we see Pyro do.
Later.
So
notice how much we're saying later. This will all be like very
guys,
relevant.
the final act of this movie is unbelievable.
Yeah, this is the stuff may be a little weird right now. Just wait, just buckle in. But yeah, like I don't know. This is a pretty like creepy sequence overall, and like it intrigues me a little bit, even if it's already like deviating really far away from what actually happened within Volume 0, right?
Right.
Like I don't know. It's pretty cool to me, but the actual like sequence itself following the eyes being stolen was a little underwhelming, I guess, but like could just be like a time thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that part of him walking up to Pyro is actually kind of neat. I think it's an interesting scene. It's nice to look at.
Yeah.
It looks good. So they pull up to the hospital where Kurapika's staying at because he lost his eyes, and they're talking to him, and he I mean, it's kind of just like normal. Like they reunite and they're all happy. It's nice to see. It's nice to see. Anytime we see the four of them together, right? It's really nice. I love stuff like this, even though Kurapika is incapacitated.
They're the bros.
But eventually, they're the bros. It's the four boys. And so this leads us into them, questioning him and about what happened. And obviously, we now have to learn about Pyro because anime onlys would have no idea who this character is, really. So we go into kind of Volume 0, kind of not Volume 0. It's a highly abridged version. We basically lose the entire setup of Volume 0. It's really just like the action, quote unquote, part of it, like the big deal part.
Yeah, like they basically skip over the entire setup and go straight into the Kurapika's challenge, so to speak.
Right.
But I do think it's worth mentioning they did technically mention and show Sheila.
Yes, I was getting to that. They do start it off. They show Sheila like in shadows, and they do say her name. We also see Dino Hunter, the book that she gives them. But,
I wish more was animated about Dino Hunter, though. A small part of me.
That
would have been fun to see more of, but like they gave us a breadcrumb essentially, which like fine, whatever. But
it's all we got. But yeah, contrary to popular belief, a lot of comments were like, "Oh, they cut Sheila," and they did. They don't get me wrong, they absolutely did. But she is there. She's mentioned, and you do see her in shadow, which is interesting. That gives the anime room, I guess, to still bring her up later and it not being completely confusing. Even who watches these movies? Never mind. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I don't know about that. But,
yeah,
like,
no.
They should have just did the entire thing, honestly, from my perspective.
This should have just been an episode of the show. They should have just done Volume 0. But
like an OVA or something, but...
Yeah. Instead, we get it kind of in this movie that's barely even about Kurapika. So, the story goes. We do Volume 0. It's nice. We hear like the only bit of like the beginning we get is just kind of like he's like, oh yeah, we got that book from Sheila and me and Pyro are friends. That's like the only bit of setup we get.
Yeah.
And then we jump straight to the trial. The whole thing where the village elder is like, you have to return here without your eyes turning scarlet. And so it plays out as it normally does. Pyro drops. Except Dylan pointed out, and I'm pretty sure he's right, this happened in a building in the manga, but it's outside in a forest here. Minor difference, but it's something.
I just think it's funny because like you would think that like dropping like the eye drops on the ground, like in the grass, like everyone would be able to see the switcheroo a lot easier there than if it was under a dresser. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but like, how did you guys miss that? Are you guys blind too? Like,
maybe.
Just a funny detail I noticed.
Yeah, so they go into town. And yeah, if I wasn't clear enough, Pyro did switch out the little vial thing. And so they go into town. It plays out as you do. They ride the fake chocobos. Pyro drops he runs into that one asshole, and then they pick on him, call him a slur.
This part was actually really well adapted, I thought.
This was great. I actually really enjoyed this. I mean, it's completely faithful. It's really no complaints. They just did this part 1-to-1 almost.
Yeah, these guys were assholes. Kurapika eventually got mad. There was this one little animation detail I actually really liked too, where the part where the dude like drops the the jar of coins, right? And Kurapika and Pyro are picking them up. Just a really small one, but one I really appreciated was as they were pouring the coins back in, Kurapika pours all of his coins, or the coins that he picked up, back into the bag perfectly. Whereas Pyro, the coins that he managed to scoop up, he like misses half of them going into the bag completely. Right. And just that little detail, I think, just adds a lot of like characterization as to like, he's actually like, he cannot see. Like, he does not deserve to be picked on like this. And I don't know. It's something I appreciate when you're adapting something from like pages to like actual animation.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, and that the coin thing is exactly what prompts them to be like, oh, you're just hanging out with a cripple, and then Kurapika loses his mind, beats him up. Very well animated sequence there. That was very satisfying. But then they revealed that they were just hired to do. Not even hired. They were just asked, I guess, to do this by.
They weren't even paid off.
Village elder. No, they just kind of did this, and Kurapika loses his cool. His eyes turn scarlet. People get freaked out. Racism ensues. You know how it goes.
Yep.
Very unfortunate.
Very sad.
And so the two are kind of driven out of town. They ride off, and Kurapika is upset because, I mean, his eyes turned scarlet. That means he failed the test. But Pyro, the homie, reveals that nope, he switched out those vials. So his eyes are normal. He's all good. He'll pass the exam. Not like that matters, because then the whole clan gets slaughtered.
Yeah, and they don't show a whole lot of it either, which, like, fair, to be honest. That would be a lot. But, yeah. That all they kind of showed of it was, I think it was the village head's body with, like, the troop note.
Yes, the note from the Phantom Troop with, what's the thing? It's like, what's the phrase they always
What's
write?
the phrase? That's always... Here, I'm pulling it up now.
I'm trying to get to it in the thing.
Basically something along the lines of, like, you can... I can't... Why is
it's like it's completely slipping my mind. You know the one, the classic.
You know the
thing.
one.
But
Just
so it's
we'll accept anything you leave here, but don't take anything away from us.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. So they leave that note, and that's all we know. They don't show anything additional to the manga. It's still the same kind of thing. We know what happened. Instead of like narration, obviously from the manga, it's Kurapika telling everybody what happened, and that's it. It was 6 weeks after the exam, according to these subtitles. So I guess he had like 6 weeks to relish in his accomplishment.
Yeah,
that's something.
So this was a very rushed adaptation of Volume Zero. I wish like an OVA or something of it was made instead of it being shoved into a random non-canon movie. But
yeah,
it's for the things that they did actually put some care and effort into. I did like this adaptation of it. It's just I wish it was its own thing, and more care was put into it, and I think it would have been fantastic. But
yeah, exactly as you said, OVA would have been fantastic. But they just decided to shove it into this movie for no reason. Like, it would at least make more sense if this movie really was about Kurapika, but it's just not about him.
No, it's like they use Volume Zero as a way to kind of... how do I even describe it? It's not even a main focus. This is just kind of attached to the new original characters that are made for this movie. That
yes,
spoiler alert, are not very good. So
no, we're about to start talking about one of them.
Yeah.
One of these new characters is Omokage, who is the original 4th Phantom Troop, the number 4 spider, who Hisoka took over the spot for, and we get introduced to him by Kurapika seeing through the eyes of Pyro, I guess, which is thing that only happens to Kurapika throughout this movie. It's not like this happens later with anybody else, but for some reason here he sees through Pyro's eyes for a moment. He gets a good look at Omokage, and through those visions he's trying to describe to Leorio where Omokage might be. And this was a very funny moment for us. Leorio is like, "Oh, can you describe the place?" And he runs over to the window to just try to spot the place from there. Like, man, you're not gonna see it from there. There's no chance.
I'll only let it slide because it's Leorio and he's my guy.
That's right.
It's just really funny. Like, what are you gonna see from there, man? In the middle of the city.
But he does draw a nice picture about what Kurapika described, and that begins our quest.
Yeah.
Leorio and Kurapika chill at the hospital while Gon and Killua try to find that spot on the, that Kurapika was describing. Or actually, Leorio goes with them at first because they're just they're looking up like a match.
Yeah,
for this place
segues into like a little montage essentially, where
Yeah.
Well, not montage. That's not the right word, but.
Well, it does eventually lead to a montage, yeah, but it just starts with them finding this place, and then, yeah, I mean, there's really nothing to report with that scene, and they're like in an internet cafe, and they just kind of, they look up the spot, they find a good place to go, and then Gon and Killua head off, and then we get a montage.
Yeah, so this effectively sets up the the main goal for the rest of the movie, which is to find Omokage, the hidden 4th Phantom Troop member that got kicked out, I guess, and get back Kurapika's eyes. And if we being me and Kaige didn't know already what to expect, this would be like interesting enough idea to
Yeah.
kind of go into. Like, the fourth Phantom Troop member before Hisoka, like, count me in, honestly, if I didn't know any better. That sounds
Yeah.
fun to me, but even for
Absolutely.
non-canon. But
His design really sucks. That's the only thing.
he does not look like a Hunter x Hunter character.
Absolutely not. Neither him or the later character Retsu. They just like you do not feel Togashi's pen behind those characters.
No,
it is very apparent.
I can't even like pinpoint what kind of design they remind me of either. But like, it's just not Hunter x Hunter. Something. It's like the soul is missing. I don't know what it is.
It's not there. But yeah, Gon and Killua then head off to find this location. We got a nice little montage of them just kind of wandering around together, finding the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then they arrive at the spot where they're still just kind of running around having fun. This is like Dylan was saying, this is actually a pretty nice part of the movie. It's chill Hunter x Hunter, like they're just hanging out.
Vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an adventure.
It's all harmless stuff for the most part, nitpicking aside.
Right. And that's when Gon is like running across buildings and he spots a little puppeteer in the crowd, a little kid playing with a puppet. And this is the introduction to a character who is supposed to be like a major focus of the movie, but sure doesn't feel like it by the end.
No.
This is Retsu or Rets. First introduced as a boy, but I mean it's a girl. We'll find out shortly.
Very shortly, yeah.
She's a puppeteer for about 10 seconds. That has absolutely nothing to do with anything. I mean, I guess that's something. It's semi-related, I guess.
It's semi-relevant, yeah. I do want to know, by the way, though, they use CG for the puppet, like animating the, animating the puppet essentially, and it actually looked really good. I'm kind of shocked for how well that looks for a 2013 movie.
Yeah, that was actually very good 3D animation. I was super impressed by that. So the boys approach this little puppeteer character. Well, actually, they don't approach at all. A little girl approaches the puppeteer and then puts money in her little hat and then runs away, joy in her eye, trips, and then causes a wild chain of events where this guy with a horse-drawn carriage just spirals out of control and drops this cargo he's carrying.
The horse goes crazy.
It goes nuts. Wow, he's never seen a person trip in its life.
Nope.
Drops these heavy-ass barrels. Almost kills two innocent girls. But thankfully, Gon with his quick first step slides in and saves them both.
What a homie.
Thank you, Gon.
Yeah. Truly the shining light in our world.
That's right. And then the guy that almost killed these two girls just kind of goes away.
He just kind of leaves. Happened. He doesn't even pick up his cargo.
No, he doesn't pick up his cargo. That's gotta be a big deal, right? Like
he just lost money on that.
That's putting food on the table for his family. Anyways, then Retsu properly introduces herself to Gon. By the way, it's Retsu or Rets. It's Japanese stuff. It could be either one. The dub does choose to say Rets, which is interesting. So say whatever you want. I'm reading Retsu right now, so I'm probably gonna say Retsu.
That's how I'm interpreting it for now. But either way, whatever.
So the two of them meet, just Gon and her, and they really hit it off. They're like, it's like a new mainstay character. This is like this is the new trio, Dylan. This is a big deal.
Trio. Well, I don't think Killua would like that very much as of right now.
Yes. So speaking of Killua, he eventually takes notice of their blooming friendship. These two young boys, as he sees it, Gon and Retsu are really hitting it off.
I do want to point out it's not eventually, it's almost immediately upon seeing them.
Oh yeah. Like he immediately sniffs them out. He sees them like just chatting it up, and he gets this really glum look on his face. And then Gon notices him. He runs up, and they chat it up. But Killua keeps being really antagonistic towards Retsu. Like
he's being a dick, kind of.
Yeah, total asshole. He's like emitting aura. He's so like suspicious of this person. And so eventually it gets so heated that Killua like pushes her straight to the ground. And that's when he notices, I somehow, I guess, that she's a girl.
And immediately like that, the jealousy in his eyes are like have disappeared.
Yep. That's it. From that point on, oh, it's a girl, whatever. It's so funny because like that's just it. That truly is it. Because the movie itself doesn't offer any other explanation as to why he suddenly became less suspicious of this person.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh, it's a girl? All right, well, no problem then.
Most random thing ever. Like, what are you trying to imply here, Killua? Like,
it's pretty clear. He was jealous.
He was jealous. He wanted going all to himself.
That's right. But it's so funny. It's because it's a girl. He's like, oh, it's not competition. I'm good. It's like there's no other way to read it. It's so funny.
Yeah,
it's so damn funny.
Jokes aside, though, this is all kind of to further the whole, like, you know, like Killua being, you know, I guess, like, you know, weary of friendships in general because of Illumi's manipulation and all that. This is kind of furthering along that, like, storyline, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Gon and Retsu's kind of, you know, hitting it off immediately. It's kind of like juxtaposition to Killua kind of being unsure if it's something legitimate or not, and you know, to that extent I get why they did this, but it's just really funny how like quick this like goes through, like, you know, the motions, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think they were actually trying to go for like Killua sees this boy as competition for the love of Gon. That is definitely not the intention, but it absolutely reads like it because it's such a rush scene. Like, I don't know how you could read it as anything else.
Hilarious.
So they're just chatting it up. Retsu continues. Well, it starts, I guess, because it's really our first real long look at her. She just starts off being immediately the most boring character in the world. Like, there's just absolutely nothing to her, man, at all.
Very monotone voice, like not a lot of personality aside from
boring design.
A puppeteer, like.
And the puppeteer thing is actually kind of unique. Like that's a thing, you know, that's something.
Yeah.
But then that's gone immediately.
They
like not far from now. No, it's like it doesn't matter. So, and you know, throughout the notable thing I guess to talk about this scene is she keeps mentioning eyes, like the thing about Gon's eyes are so pure. She's like, you know, really honing in on people's eyes.
Yeah, Killua has like a tinge of darkness to them, but it's still very pure as well. Like,
yeah, a lot of observations about eyes, so something to keep in mind. Yeah. I mean, if you already watched the movie, you know what this is about. But
yeah, you know. Retsu basically is saying like the eyes are kind of like the soul of a person, almost.
Yeah,
like, or a reflection of the soul, something along those lines.
Yeah, and she reinforces that by talking about puppets. Like, there's this whole thing about like, oh, the eyes are what make a puppet come to life. It's all about the eyes of the puppet.
Very interesting. Totally not on the nose for what we've already seen too.
Exactly. And, you know, and the thing about this is like her puppet. I don't know. Are the eyes really the highlight? I think it's the hat, personally.
Yeah. I don't know. The hat's what I noticed first too.
Yeah, but you know, whatever you say. She's the artiste here.
Yeah,
I'll trust her. So after that, our new trio, the legendary trio, everybody knows Retsu.
Mainstay.
We cut back to Leorio and Kurapika in the hospital. Kurapika's dreaming of Pyro again. Kind of sweet, actually. Nice little scene. But then he's awoken by a horrible sight. We have Hisoka's introduction in this movie, which he's not super involved in this movie, but he is here.
Listen, if I were to wake up in the middle of the night to Hisoka standing by my bed, I'd be freaking out. But Kurapika's a better man than me, so I get it.
Yeah.
But no, like, jokes aside, yeah, I don't know. Hisoka's just kind of here now. There's not really an explanation as to like why, other than I want to tell you about the dude who stole your eyes. Like,
yeah, that really is it. Like, he doesn't really have much of a goal. I mean, I guess you can interpret. Well, no, he wants to fight him. He wants to fight Omokage.
Yeah, that's his whole thing of like, you know, not ripe enough, all that nonsense. Nonsense.
And
I actually do like it, but
yeah. So he fills them in on what we already explained. He he tells them about how he was the former fourth member of the Phantom Troop, yada yada yada. Well, actually, that doesn't even happen yet. That's later.
Well, so
I guess it.
that the explanation stuff happens kind of. I guess technically it happens. It's coinciding with the other events we're about to talk about. But
Yeah.
we
this
can
will be crazy.
Yeah, but so we can kind of talk about Hisoka now, I think, because the next stuff is going to be wild.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot to say about this next part.
But Hisoka basically explains that, like, you know, he thought, or he was supposed to, like, kill the fourth Phantom Troop member in order to, like, actually take his spot. And I guess to the troop he did, but what Hisoka actually realized is that he killed a puppet version of Omokage. So he didn't actually kill him, which is why he wants to actually do that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Makes sense, I guess, for Hisoka, but kind of kind of vanilla. I don't know.
Yeah, it's something. But it's just like it's hard to take it seriously because like this guy is not the fourth member. Like he just isn't. I know he's not.
It's really funny, but and we'll talk about this much more later as well. It's really funny to imagine him alongside the sides of every other group member.
Yeah, like
he just does not fit in.
It also pissed me off like later when he's like, "Yeah, I was there at the Kurta clan massacre." Like, shut the hell up, man. No, you weren't. Who are you? I can't even imagine him being there. Fuck that.
You're really funny, but yeah. Spoiler alert also, we don't get to see a whole lot of him until the end of the movie.
Oh my god, yeah. This guy has like no presence at all in his own movie.
We'll get to that though. We have some big
and
stuff
also
to talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna come up on something big. But before we move on from Hisoka here, he does mention that he also has his eyes set on Kurapika and Leorio in this moment, which is a movie original concept. He has never said that before in canon, as far as I'm aware. Maybe he, I really don't think he did, but especially because I just rewatched like Hunter exams and stuff. He never said that, but he also never meets them again. So yeah, no way. He's never said that in canon.
He's only ever said that about Gon and Killua.
Yeah, Gon and Killua. Maybe even only Gon, actually. I don't even think he said that about Killua. He's into Gon.
Killua,
well, maybe during Greed Island, actually.
Either during Greed Island or the election arc, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think he has said that about Killua, but not Leorio or Kurapika. But he does say it in this movie, which is interesting that they would write that in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bother speculating about movie dialogue, but it's interesting.
I just imagine, like, it's really funny. So we're just waiting for Leorio to develop. Like, I don't know. Yeah. The prospect of, like, that encounter just is really funny to me. And I can't help but entertain it now.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, enough of Hisoka for now. So we're back with the main trio, the legendary trio, and they're sleeping in beds in a hotel or something, and then all of a sudden we hear a familiar voice laughing through the night, and it is Uvo. He's back, guys.
Uvo has somehow returned.
Somehow Uvo has returned. That's right. He's here. He's screaming. He's blowing shit up. He's back, guys. He's here.
So this is where it all falls apart of, like, where does this movie take place?
Yeah.
Because, like, this would have to been after York knew. But...
Right. Unless you're, like, at this point you could be like, oh, he's alive here, I guess. But that quickly is deconfirmed. So... He blows shit up. Gon and Killua try to fight him. Obviously, they can't do shit against Uvo. Like, come on now.
No, and they make a point of that too. They try a good amount of stuff, and they're not scratching him even.
Yeah, this is pre-Nen ability. Gon and Killua. They just got the basics. That's all they can do. So who comes in to save them but Nobunaga? And this is where we learn that, okay, no, something's not right here. Because Uvo is in fact dead, and this is a puppet of Uvo.
And Gon and Killua recognize Nobunaga, and, like, they name him by name. So this is at least after the events of which, you know, they got caught by the troop.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
so also...
The timeline just makes no sense.
Yeah, it's also further cemented way later when talking about Chrollo, too. Like... Yeah, this is after York knew, very clearly, but how? What? There was no effort put into like making this slot in anywhere. This is just like, it's a thing. It just happened.
Yeah.
Alternate reality, I guess.
The animation itself was like kind of cool. Like, hey, like I'll take more animated fights of like Uvo being involved. Like he's just badass, right?
Yeah, it was cool to see Uvo again in a way, like new animation of Uvo. It was nice looking too, and yeah, Nobunaga versus Uvo is not something I ever thought I'd see, but
no, yeah, not at all.
there it was, and it was neat in a way. And then so he beheads Uvo and then takes his eyes, which is funny. I mean, I guess that's your friend's eyes, but
yeah, it's not the real one to him, right? So like whatever, but.
Yeah. And yeah, during this is when we cut back to Hisoka, but we already talked about that scene, so.
Yeah.
Blow right past that and back to the action where Omokage makes his debut. We see him standing up on a rooftop and Nobunaga recognizes him, which I hate. I hate seeing canon characters know who this guy is. It just pisses me off. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. You got some nerve showing yourself. Like oh my god.
Yeah, so he then he summons the boys. We get the puppets of the shadow beasts of our boys. And we didn't watch this movie together, by the way, and we were looking for Owl, guys, but unfortunately he didn't make the cut. He is not here, which must mean he is alive.
That's exactly right. He did this if he wouldn't be able to. He's only made puppets out of dead characters. So not seeing Owl there when he summoned the entirety of the Shadow Beast implies he cannot summon Owl, meaning that Owl is alive and well. So
yes, however, the only dead people puppets is quickly disproven. But at this moment, Owl's alive. That's all.
That's how I'm interpreting it as. Like,
I don't need to elaborate anymore. No. Owl's alive, guys. He's coming back soon. All right.
Soon. That's
Chapter 411. The real Owl will be on the boat. So yeah, we get the rest of the Shadow Beasts as well as Pakunoda show up. They get just immediately murked. Who gives a shit?
It's really funny how quickly they're disposed of.
Yeah, like that was. I guess that was supposed to be like fan service, like wow, they brought the Shadow Beast back, whoa! But who gives a fuck?
It was
like
Nobunaga No, it's not even Nobunaga that disposes of them immediately. It's Machi.
It's Machi. Yeah, Machi swoops in. He does kill Paku though. He cuts her straight in half, through the middle. So yeah, they take Uvo's eyes and they talk briefly to Gon and kill her. Like, oh yeah, you're looking for Omokage. Wow, okay. And then they just run away.
They just let him be.
And then you'll think like, oh, they'll probably be in the movie for like the rest of the thing, right? No, they're gone. And yeah, we'll see him once more later, but not too substantial.
No, unfortunately not. Like, so animation wise, this was all really cool to watch. Like, this was like eye candy, but nothing really more than that. It just kind of makes Omokage look really lame from the get-go as well.
Yeah. Like it's
reviving
this
Uvo.
ability goes from being stupid as hell to at the end being like, wait, is this actually busted?
Yeah. But like,
I mean, like reviving Uvo is crazy. Yeah.
It's just that the first impression is that like Uvo kind of did some work until Nobunaga showed up, I guess. Right. But like, it's really funny how like he's like, yes, I am here, and then like creates like 5 other clones, and then they're all disposed of in like 10 seconds.
They're just trash.
And he's just like, okay, bye. Like, like what were you doing here in the first place? Like, just showing off? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't make any sense. What did he want to accomplish there?
God knows. I have no idea.
If he was trying to save like Uvo's eyes and the puppet, he should have. He should have brought out the troop puppets there.
No. I guess the intent was to, which we find out later was a goal, anyways, is stealing Gon's eyes or just stealing more eyes in general.
Oh yeah, I guess yeah.
But either way, it's like it doesn't read off like that either, just because like of how they're fighting. Like I don't know, it just feels like they want to just straight up kill. Like the puppets, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. It's just like This is the unfortunate problem of this movie, whereas like as soon as you try and like think any deeper into like the substance of what's happening in this movie, it just all starts falling apart immediately. Like you kind of have to get the max enjoyment out of this movie to just look at it as nothing but eye candy, and
Yep.
this entire sequence kind of showcases that for me.
Yeah, it's just like mindless action. Like you watch it, it looks cool, and that you move on.
Yeah.
Don't think about it too hard. Much like this next part, which I mean isn't even really cool to look at. This is just Retsu shit. I don't care. Like they're trying to get some new clothes for her. They're just hanging out. I don't know. Like whatever.
This
You get a dress.
Even on rewatch, this is where it hit me that like I just feel absolutely nothing about Retsu as a character. There's no substance.
No, she just sucks, man. Like I don't care about anything she does.
Like and even like with this like new outfit and like trying to like make her have like a special appearance, like I don't know, like there's just nothing about her that I care about. And like that's not even like the premise of her character is like okay, like it's not even anything bad, but like just everything they've shown about her up until this point, she's just the most boring character of all time. I don't know what it is about it. Like I think a lot of it just comes down to like Tagashi just did not create this character, and like that's the only thing.
Yeah, exactly. Just some writer. Like it's just super lame, man. I just could not possibly care about this character. How, like they give us nothing to care about or latch on to. It's just totally nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, they talk and hang out, and then eventually she leads them to a place where she feels they might have a lead on Omokage.
Well, okay, there is something to note here about as Gon and Killua are walking out of like the clothes store or whatever. She's doing something a little sus with sending her puppet out. It's kind of following them out the door.
Yeah.
Which, how did they not notice that? By the way, it's literally like 3 feet behind them. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's weird detail to me.
Know.
But we do see, as you said, she eventually leads them to a place where she thinks that, Omokage might be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as they're leaving, we see a silhouette behind a dumpster start to form that looks strangely like an older brother of Killua, I'd say.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and so then they reach that place that she was leading them to, and sure enough, there is Illumi. But not actually. It's actually just a puppet. It's Illumi without eyes. Which admittedly is a pretty cool visual for some reason.
Oh, yeah,
I like that scene too, like whenever he starts to talk, but he's not like quite talking right. He just like keeps saying a sound over and over, but then he gets it right. Yeah, key. That was cool. And then he just does Illumi bullshit, which is like this further just begs the question, like, how do these puppets work? Like, do they just have the memories of the person no matter what?
I think it was explained at some point in the movie. I don't even remember where this was said anymore. That like basically the puppets are formed out of like the memories and like made manifest of the people close to them and how they perceive them, I think. So this was kind of made out of like Killua's reflection of Illumi, if that makes sense.
So I guess, I'll just take this opportunity to read you how Omokage's Zen ability works. I was going to save this for later, but this is a good time to bring it up.
Yeah, this is a weird one too. So
yeah, so
it's kind of warranted.
From Hunterpedia, I guess all this information comes from like the movie or maybe guidebooks or something, but I will explain it to you as is here. There are sources for all this stuff. I didn't bother to look. Sorry. So the ability is called Soul Doll. And the ability is to make a doll copy of a person the target strongly thinks about. Okay. Conditions in performing Soul Doll are Omokage's doll must be adjacent to the target while that person is thinking of someone. When the doll is adjacent to the target, it will turn into the person that the target is thinking about. The real person of whom the doll is based on cannot feel or notice this without actually being there.
So this explains, one, the purpose of Retsu's puppet, and then two, just why. This isn't Illumi. Like, this makes sense now. Like, it's Illumi himself is not affected by this in any way, shape, or form.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I see. So this was made because he was around Killua, who was
Yes.
thinking of Ilumi at the time.
Bingo.
Okay, so that makes sense actually. So this was that's very interesting. I wish they explained that in the movie. Did they even?
Kind of, yes, because of Retsu's existence.
Okay.
Which
I guess it's so. This is kind. I mean, that's like sort of a Togashi move there. If you want to talk about like some brownie points, I guess like you
Yeah.
know to kind of subtly reveal information about an ability,
mhm.
but it's not saying a whole lot.
Not really. Yeah, it's kind of different still.
So these dolls can emulate the memories, consciousness, and then abilities of the original person being copied. Even if the consciousness of the copy does not agree with Omokage, he/she cannot disobey his orders. The doll is complete when it has absorbed the eyes from a living human being. However, even if the eyes are absorbed, nothing special occurs. They can only see through that person's eyes as how the original owner would. They do not become stronger or gain any special abilities. Okay. Interesting. The physical strength, durability, and the nen abilities of the doll are limited. Yeah, we see that later, but that's a weirdly inconsistent thing too. I just like, what about Uvo was weaker, really?
It was kind
he
of
was-
just Uvo, like
Yeah, he was blowing shit up. I don't
Yeah.
know. It seemed like Uvo to me.
Big Bang Fist or Big Bang Impact, right?
Big Bang
Yeah.
Impact. Yep. The person who got their eyes stolen from the soul doll can still see through the doll's eyes. I guess that's only seen with Kurapika though.
It's only seen with Kurapika, so it's very weird. I mean, I guess you could imply that like other people can do this too, then, but like it's
Yeah.
weird. It's only showcased once.
Omokage covers this weakness by closing the soul doll's eyes.
Actually, no, it is showcased twice because again, Retsu. We'll get to that soon though.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
If a doll that stole a person's eyes is defeated, the eyes will return to the original owner. Right. Okay. So that's his ability. He has two others, but we'll talk about those later because
Yeah.
we haven't seen those. So, anyways, Ilumi's there, but puppet Ilumi, and he's just doing Ilumi shit. You know, it's a cool moment, sort of. Like it's kind of neat to see Ilumi do something, but it doesn't amount to a whole lot. I mean, it actually does. The end result is a pretty big movement in the plot, but I want to point out actually before we get to just the end of this exchange here, he throws a pin at Gon during this fight. And it attaches to his sleeve and onto a wall. And Gon's solution to getting out of this is to like rip off his sleeve. Like not rip it off, like not like pull it off, like rip. Like pull his arm forward and rip the sleeve apart to free himself.
Yeah. For a tiny little
He could have either taken the jacket off or taken the pin out to save some time there, but nope, he chose the worst option.
Visually, it still looked pretty cool, but like, yeah, it's like I don't know. This whole sequence again kind of falls victim to like it looks cool.
Exactly.
You know what? No, I will say like the substance within it is probably some of the best that this movie will offer as well, because
I suppose
it's Gon Killua like dynamics. Like again,
Yeah.
you can't really. Like, you'd have to really struggle to like make that bad, you know.
Yeah, it's Ilumi tormenting Killua about their friendship while while Gon's actually there this time around, which is different. So there's something there, even though it's not actually Ilumi, but it's also it's an Ilumi formed from the thoughts of Killua. So there's something there. I guess it's a neat confrontation in a way. He tries to steal Killua's eyes, but eventually gets Gon's instead. We'll find out later Gon did that on purpose, but that's another use of the eye thing, actually. You know what? That happens more than I thought it did.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I also want to point out as well the soundtrack is like phenomenal for this movie.
Yes, we did get a comment about that. I was gonna save that, but we might as well just talk about it. Yeah, the soundtrack in this movie is amazing. Like
it's kind of just
really
like a best of for the most part, just like used from the anime, but like even like
with
during
original tracks.
Yeah, there are some original tracks, and I feel like one of them played during this whole sequence as well with Gon, Killua, Ilumi, quotation marks. But
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like everything that plays here musically is very nice.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. That's definitely the highlight. Actually, the soundtrack is very good. So yeah, Gon gets his eyes stolen, and this sends Killua down a depressive spiral. He's really beating himself up about this. Yeah, he goes and tries to kill himself. Actually, he stands in front of a moving train,
holding Gon's hunter license, and just like,
wow.
Yeah, it's kind of heavy. It's really heavy actually, but like this is the best part of the movie, I would say. At the same time, like.
Yeah, it's nice because obviously he does not die. Gon saves his life, and the two have a nice little talk. It's sweet, It brings up the whole Gon like following your scent thing and without eyes. I mean, bringing it all back. It's cool. Not a bad moment at all. It's probably, I guess, like this is like the emotional moment of the movie. It's fine enough. It works, I guess.
It's the emotional climax, and they kind of puts a bullet point on the whole, internal struggle that Killua faced. So, I didn't mind it at all. I actually really liked it.
Yeah, that's a good moment. But then Kurapika and Leorio show up totally randomly. So
they just show up at the most like convenient timing in the world.
Yeah, and they're like, "How'd you guys get here?" And Leorio holds up his stupid beetle phone and is like, "Oh, I tracked you on the GPS." Yeah. Okay, I guess.
Like, I guess that works, but it's just really funny how like this is where you can really tell they're like, all right, we need to wrap this movie up.
Yeah, it just suddenly like goes on like Mach 10 speed. Like, let's just wrap this shit up.
Yeah.
And they really do, because from this point on, I mean, we're gonna be rushing through this because there's not gonna be a whole lot to say about the build up to this final act. It's just like, okay, they're like, all right, we gotta end this, and then we cut the Omokage. Finally, this is really our first time talking about this damn guy in this movie. He has Retsu back.
Retsu calls him Big Brother.
That's right, yeah. And this is our big reveal, guys. Wow, Retsu is Omokage's little sister.
Whoa. Sure, yeah, whoa.
This changes everything. Wow, on rewatches, this is going to be major. Like,
what will the trio do
that's her brother?
with this information?
I know, wow.
And during this little exchange as well, we kind of get more of Omokage's background in general as well, the little crumbs that we get of it.
Yeah, he lost his sister.
Yeah.
And he became obsessed with puppets. Maybe he was obsessed with puppets before she died. I don't really know or care. But he ended up wanting to create a puppet of his sister, of his dead sister.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And eventually, I guess he developed his net ability and put his eyes in her.
And so that's how he was able to create the fake Illumi and all that, because through Retsu's, since it was his eyes in the Retsu puppet, he was technically able to, be next to Killua and all that. So it all kind of ties together how he was able to know where these people were at and, how stealing their eyes, all that nonsense. So
yeah. So it all clicks, I guess, at that point. Like, oh, wow, this masterpiece writing skills, it's finally making sense.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's a little interesting. But again, we don't see any of it, really. Like, this is all we get for the most part.
Yeah.
I don't know. And these characters are just so boring otherwise, you can't really be invested. And that's the problem.
Nope. So that's about all we get out of Omokage. It's like backstory. That's it. His dead sister put his eyes in her. That's it.
Yep.
He takes his eyes back, and then we move on to the climax. That's really it. They just kind of appear at Omokage's church thing.
Mansion, yeah.
I don't really remember how they get there. Oh, no, I do remember. It's because the Illumi puppet has Gon's eyes.
Yes, yep. And they were able to follow like the Nen trail, essentially.
Yep. So they enter the building, and thus begins the wildest part of the movie.
We were actually going at Mach 10 from here on out.
Yeah. So Omokage is standing there on the cathedral, or I guess this is a church, right? It must be a church.
It's church, I think. That's what it screams
Yeah.
to me, anyways.
And Pyro, the Pyro puppet and the Ilumi puppet are both there alongside him with Retsu, of course. Retsu's not really doing much right now, though. She's just in the background without eyes. And he's just giving some dumbass monologue. He's talking about how he's the divine puppeteer. Whoa,
if you
shit.
pity Retsu, give her more eyes. Like, this dude's a freak. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. So that happens, and eventually we start a little fight here. Ilumi.
The Ilumi and Pyro puppets are there as well.
The Ilumi and Pyro puppets jump down, and we start a fight between Leorio, Kurapika, and Pyro. What a matchup! I've always dreamed of this fight.
Yeah.
And Kilo Agon and Ilumi. The Pyro puppet is surprisingly strong. I guess this means Pyro was quite a skilled fighter.
Yeah,
these
it's like
days.
a legally blind 10-year-old kid putting up a fight against a grown Kurapika with Nen.
Yep.
It's a very weird visual. That being said, Leorio did pull out the pocket knife and did absolutely nothing.
He got laid out immediately. And so the two of them fight. Kurapika gets his ass kicked also, actually, until Leorio snaps Kurapika out of his little mental funk, and then, I mean, it cuts away, but he ends the fight pretty much right after that. And then Gon and Kilo are fighting Ilumi. It looks nice. I mean, that's about all I can say. It's a cool looking fight.
Lots of fast kicks, lots of fast punches. Like,
Ilumi's moves look cool. It's Ilumi stuff. We haven't seen him fight a whole lot, but when he does, that's what he does. So cool. And they beat him too, pretty unceremoniously.
Yeah, the fights are not really that long. Okay. What's really funny about the Ilumi fight though is that they get their asses kicked by him, and then they do one little team up attack and they one shot him.
They just suddenly beat him. Like they couldn't think of a believable way to actually beat him.
Yeah. That being said, the music while all this is happening rules really. Like,
yes.
This is an original track.
It's extremely good. Yeah, and there's like sort of an emotional send off to Pyro, but I just don't give a shit, man. Like, it's not. It doesn't hit.
There are two other things I want to talk about this fight before we get to the rest of this sequence of the movie, though. One, I didn't see it myself, but you mentioned that there was a Gon animation error in the Ilumi fight.
Yes,
right?
There absolutely was. I think that was the Ilumi fight, right? Or was it later?
I think it was during the Ilumi fight. I think it was like when they one-shotted him.
Yeah, so it's right when they do the punch. Like one frame you see Gon has the headband, and then it's like a back shot of the two of them punching, and he has the headband on very clearly.
But he should have it off by that point,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
So little, very glaring animation mistake there. I pointed it out while we were watching.
Maybe we can post a screenshot of it or something online if we can, or on the video version if we can find a good screen cap of it. But
I wish I thought to do that. I was just on it too, but I can probably get it later.
We'll see if we can even get that because Netflix bullshit. But
true, yeah. But it happened. It was funny. It's probably well documented. Honestly, you could probably just find that.
Yeah, and then,
I doubt I'm the first person to notice.
Yeah, and then the second thing, Pyro was admitting then, the puppet version of Pyro.
Yeah.
You could chalk that up to just being like it's an extension of Omokage, therefore Nen output or whatever. It's just. It's really fun. Like in the moment, like Pyro can use Nen. Like that is the most random thing of all time, and it goes into a bit of a problem with the design of Omokage's abilities. I guess is that it's really unclear how much the Nen really affects the puppets themselves. Like post production of them, and it's really weird. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me at this point, but nor do I really care to understand it by this point in the movie because shit's just going off the rails.
Yeah. And indeed, it goes off the rails. This is where it really goes crazy. So, Omokage reveals the reason he joined the troupe in the first place, which was to get puppets made of all of the troupe members. So he unleashes them all.
Lots of troupe puppets.
Yep. They're all here.
Chrollo included.
Yeah, even Chrollo. And then they proceed to just beat the shit out of the guys. Chrollo uses indoor fish. I guess that's cool to see again. That's all he does, by the way. Just indoor fish and a knife later on. And then Hisoka saves the day. Wow, thank you, Hisoka.
Thank you. Such a kind soul Hisoka is.
So he comes in and he starts fighting the troop. And, Omokage is just talking. I don't give a shit about anything Omokage says. All he does when he speaks is he's just like, puppet. Like, I like puppets. So it's like
puppets.
Puppet. Like, that's pretty much, that's all you can boil Omokage to.
That's his entire personality. Yeah, it's really bad.
It sucks. Like I could skim to any time he's on screen, and I bet whatever sentence he's saying has the word puppet in it. I don't know. He's whatever. I don't care. Kurapika activates Emperor Time because he's gonna try to use Chain Jail on him.
No, don't do it, Kurapika.
Yeah, so he's losing years of his life here on this fight, probably
With Omokage.
So then. Omokage uses a new ability, which really threw us for a loop, called Soul. Or no, this is Doll Catcher. So this is an ability to fuse with up to 3 soul dolls. And who does he choose? Now, if you guys were Omokage and you had the whole troop here, who would you pick? Who would you guys pick? Let us know.
You would think Chrollo would be an insta-pick, right?
Oh, yeah, easy.
And then let's try and think of some of the other more versatile ones, maybe defensively or not. Phaeton would be a good choice, probably.
Yeah, Phaeton would be a great pick.
Maybe even Machi. I guess the Machi doll has got disintegrated by Hisoka by this point, so maybe that's not an option.
That's true. Yeah, I guess Machi wouldn't be an option.
Actually, was Phaeton also disposed of at the same? No, that was after.
No. Phaeton's still around.
Yeah. But like Chrollo, Phaeton, and maybe the third one doesn't matter as much. But like I would think like with those net abilities alone, those would be worth looking at. I will give some credit though. I don't think Phaeton's ability was revealed in the anime. By the time this movie
it wasn't. He was just sword guy at this point.
But there's also something that goes against that logic as well. Why don't you just reveal who he decided to fuse with, Kaige?
So he chose Nobunaga, Finks, and Franklin. Now, not bad picks, really. But when you're writing a movie and you're the one picking who this guy is going to pick, why would you pick a guy whose Nen ability isn't even revealed? And this is made very clear almost immediately. So I guess first he uses Franklin's bullshit, just double finger gun, whatever the hell his ability is called.
Yeah,
that's literally the only thing he uses because that's the only Nen ability we got there.
Well, he does use Nobunaga's.
Yeah, the whole thing happens before that happens. So hold on, I'll get to that.
Okay.
But so first, before the funny part, Hisoka is fighting. Who even is it? Is it Finks, Chrollo, and Shalnark?
Yeah,
so
Shalnark and he disposes of he's fighting them, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is Cortopi?
Nowhere, I guess. I don't see him at all.
I didn't want Cortopi, I guess.
Fair enough, I suppose, but
so he kills the Phaeton and Shalnark puppets very easily. And then Chrollo comes at him, and it's like, oh my god, guys, Chrollo versus Hisoka, finally animated. It's here. Look, it's animated. Wow. But he just runs at him with a knife.
And then promptly dies.
That's it. Yeah, I really don't have much to say.
The fight actually lasted like 30 seconds. Not
He's like, I think he uses Phaeton's sword. He attached bungee gum to Phaeton's sword and he stabs Chrollo in the back with it, and that's it.
And the entire point I know is like, you're not the real Chrollo, blah blah blah. But like,
yeah, but like, this is still a Chrollo puppet with his memories, and the only ability he used was indoor fish. All right.
And you would think with something like Skill Hunter, you would want to be able to use that yourself, like fuse with that, right? And be able to use that Nen ability. But he just did not choose Chrollo. He chose Finks over Chrollo.
The movie really just wanted to have a Hisoka and Chrollo moment. So they just threw logic out the window. And it wasn't even cool either.
No, it's like they decided that and then they realized, oh wait, we have like 10 minutes left of this movie. We need to like get through this now.
So then he fires machine guns. Like Omokage fires machine guns at everybody, the classic. And then they do a little maneuver here. And Kurapika gets to get in with chain jail for just a moment. But we get to see Nobunaga's Nen ability here, guys. It specifically deflects chain jail. That's all it does.
That's all we know that it does from here, anyways.
Right, yeah. So jot this down. This will be important in the future. So we at least know Nobunaga's Nen ability can deflect chain jail. So that's huge. This is a big lore drop here.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
I was stunned. I was like, "What did he do?" I don't even understand.
It was just
what
a quick
happened.
like sword slash thing, and it's like chain jail didn't work. Like what do you?
All right.
How?
Why
Explain.
not? So that happens, and then they do more team up shit, and then he actually hits. He just like kicks with Finks. He doesn't even use Cyclotron,
which makes it even more questionable. Why did you fuse with him if that's all you're gonna do with his Nen ability? Like,
I really need his kick.
Not even gonna snap people's necks with his ability, or like do the wind up fist thing. Although I don't even know if that was revealed by this point in the anime.
It was.
It was okay.
He actually uses it in this movie right at the end. Yeah. Spoiler. But anyways, Kurapika actually ends up using chain jail on Omokage. This is whenever he asks him about like if he was involved in the Kurta clan massacre, and Omokage does some shit. He like laughs. And he's like, "Haha, yeah, I remember their faces. I was totally there.
I remember the warm blood or whatever." Like,
yeah, it's badass, man.
Yeah,
they're so cool. Then he said, Kurapika, he's like, "I'll never use Nen again or kill you." Judgment Chain obviously is in effect here. Not wrapped around his heart though, which is not how this ability works, but whatever.
No.
And then.
Well, no, I don't even think he used Judgment Chain yet. Like
I guess he was about to.
He was about to use Judgment Chain.
Yeah. That's weird. He didn't. Whatever. It was just probably to excuse to have Killua step in, and be like, "I'll kill him for you."
He stopped by Killua, and then.
But then Killua doesn't get to do it either because Retsu. Wow, I bet you guys forgot she existed. She comes in and kills him, stabs him in the back.
And it's the most random thing of all time, like, honestly.
It sure is.
Even with the context of their like relationship or whatever, like it just would make no sense. Because then Retsu I'm pretty sure is just like, I'm pretty sure this isn't what I would have wanted if I was alive or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Yeah,
power of friendship? Like, is that what's happening here? Like, you can tell they don't know what they're doing by this point, like, with trying to, like, end this movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, he's dying, thank God. And he says, I think his final words here are, "Putrid humans, rotten to the core, will die by my hand." Wow.
Badass.
What? That's like top 10 last words ever, I think. Then he brings out the other remaining puppets, the ones that were inside of him. They unfuse, but then the real versions of them come in and destroy him.
The troop shows up for some reason.
And Finks does indeed use Ripper Cyclotron to destroy his own puppets. So there you go.
Okay, there we go. And the reasoning, I guess, is that they didn't want Kurapika to. They showed up because they didn't want Kurapika to die or get hurt because of like they feared it would like further affect Chrollo, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it would tighten the chain around Chrollo, I guess.
Yeah. And didn't want anybody to get to the chain user before they did.
Correct. Yep, and they pretty much say the same exact thing to Hisoka. Even though they could have just tried to kill him here. If
they could have. There's no reason why they couldn't have.
I guess they just figured they couldn't take him, but I don't know. That's the whole troop there. I whatever.
Minus Chrollo, but like they were
Chrollo
essentially just
there.
like, yeah, we want you ourselves, and then we'll get you some other time, Hisoka. Like, okay.
Yeah. And then they just leave. So obviously that's all foreshadowing. The succession contest. Obviously they knew.
Obviously.
And so then I guess Retsu or somebody sets the building on fire.
Yeah, this was really random too.
Suddenly the building's on fire.
The main four were all like, "Okay, well, we did it. We're safe now." Leorio wakes up from his nap behind the bleachers after getting his ass kicked.
Leorio's like totally absent from this whole scene, by the way, until he wakes up.
And then somehow the building is just on fire. Retsu is like holding Omokage's body, and she's just like accepting that she's not alive, and the whole place is gonna burn down. And they just kind of let it happen. There's like no words said about it really. And you would think for how much they try to push the dynamic of like Retsu's friendship with Gon and Killua, that like there'd be a more like heartfelt like emotion or goodbye. There isn't though. They're just kind of like, well,
no, they don't really give a shit.
That was an adventure, guys. Like,
yep.
It's so unlike Gon, especially, that it really throws me off, even looking at it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's just it. That's our send off for the two original characters in this movie.
Yeah.
And then don't care.
And then it just kind of goes into the ending credits and scenes.
Just ends. We're at an airport now. So I'm looking here. It says passengers going to York New City will be boarding at Gate 3. That's going to. So where were they?
Where in the world does this take place?
I don't know. I don't know. Also worth noting, we get a little Kakin shout out here. Kingdom of Kakin will be boarding at Gate 6. Wow, look at that.
They were thinking about it.
And there's actually a crazy Easter egg. All 13 princes are in the background of this one shot.
Yeah, if you zoom in like at 500%.
If you zoom in really far, all 13 of them are back there. Yeah. So that's cool. Even though there's 14. Saleh died early.
Oh, yeah, true. This is a non-canon timeline, right?
Right, yeah. He had a heart attack last Tuesday.
Yeah.
So the gang goes their separate ways. They pretty much do the scene again from like the end of York New.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, then we get.
Ends.
Well, no.
Yeah, we get some cameos.
Shots.
Yeah. So let's go over these cameos. Every anime movie's always got to have cameos at the end. So who do we get for Hunter x Hunter Phantom Rouge? We start off with Chrollo. He's in a desert.
just standing there. What is he doing?
By himself. I don't know what he's doing. Then we get Biscuit, also in a desert. I guess that's maybe Greed Island. I don't know.
She's just there. Yeah.
And then the weirdest one, we get Kite. Huh?
This isn't the weirdest one.
Well.
Yeah. But like Kite's here. This part is really funny because like for the longest... Real people who know lore about me and my online presence way back in the day know that I had a Kite profile picture back when I was first watching Hunter x Hunter that I used all the time for a bunch of different socials, and I didn't realize until we rewatched this yesterday that my icon came from this scene. And
it's a nice shot.
Oh yeah, it is a nice shot.
It's like Kite looks cool.
And he's just having a picnic on his own.
Yeah, he's just chilling. He's really just living his best life. And then we see Jing, who looks up at the sky and then either sends off or turns into like a ball of fire, I guess, up to the sky. Jing, then ability revealed also in this movie, along with Nobunaga, he can turn into fire and fly. So
yeah, he's basically Ace.
He's basically Ace. So that's cool. Good reveals in this movie.
And that's basically where we end off. The blimp flies off into the sunset, and that's that.
See you next time. That's it. The gang departs. Wow.
What a
film. What a film.
If I want to just like put an exclamation point on this as well, that like if it feels like we kind of like rushed through the last act of this movie, that's because that's exactly what it feels like watching it in the moment.
We were going for a immersive experience, so we had to make you feel like you were watching the movie.
Yeah, and that's no exaggeration either. It's just like the movie actually happens that fast from there on out.
Yes, it's so fast.
Yeah, it's. I haven't seen a movie quite like this in a long time, where it just shifts gears that, like, you know, suddenly, like within the movie itself. Like, I don't know. This is a weird movie for me to think about, like, even in retrospect.
It is so weird. Yeah, we talked to death about Retsu and Omokage. We said everything there is to say about them. That's how little there is to say about them. They suck. Terrible characters. I'm gonna forget about them tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, I mean, because we watched this movie earlier this year before we even started this podcast, and I'm pretty sure we forgot about everything about them before we watched it yesterday, and we forgot about them very quickly. I feel like even after that last watch that we did, so
yeah.
They're just not memorable at all in no way, shape, or form, really.
No. Neither is like really the plot of this movie either. It's nothing. This movie is totally nothing. I don't care about anything that happens in it. There's like a couple highlights, like there's some decent scenes, I suppose, but nothing worth writing home about. I would never recommend this to anybody.
Yeah, it's God. I would only like, you should only watch this if you are just like a diehard Hunter x Hunter fan, and you're just you're curious about like more material from the series, because there are very few, but there is some stuff to appreciate within this movie, whether it be the OST, just the animation of some of the fights. I didn't mention it in our discussion overall. I do kind of like how more like muted the colors look in this movie compared to the actual 2011 anime.
Yeah,
I think that adds a bit of charm to it as well. And like it's the same characters that you know whenever they do show up, so like, you know, that could be fun, but there just isn't a lot of substance to this movie. And so for that reason, I can't really recommend it to anybody that doesn't already love Hunter x Hunter to death and can, you know, stand through all the BS to watch a few good moments, and, you know, at the very least laugh at the really bad ones, because I feel like you'd only laugh at them, especially if you already know what's up with Hunter x Hunter. Right,
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, never watch this. That's the moral story. It's pretty bad. I don't really like this movie. It's definitely not like the worst thing in the world. I've seen worse.
Yeah,
like, even in the anime movie scene. But
I can't call this an atrocious movie, but like it's just not good.
No,
you know,
it's definitely not Hunter x Hunter. Like,
yes,
absolutely not. Like, this has none of the charm, none of the anything that makes Hunter x Hunter good.
Yeah, don't recommend this unless you want to see more things Hunter x Hunter and you ran out of stuff to watch and read.
Yeah, which is what we're doing.
Yep, we watched it so you don't have to.
Yeah, hopefully the summary was good enough. I think it was. I mean, I can tell you right now, I told you everything that's worth knowing about this movie.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. We are now going to check out what you guys had to say about this masterpiece film. So let's get into that.
Okay, now it's time to read what you guys have to say about this masterpiece of a movie, Phantom Rouge. We're going to go ahead and get started with a pretty long comment, but, you know, I want to get in as much discussion about this movie as I can, you know, for the rest of this allotted time of the episode. So let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with insert name, saying, "This is my first time seeing this, so let's start with the things I liked. Ilumi's hand-to-hand is super expressive and makes me beg for more, TBH. I love people with weird body types and hand-to-hand. Sakuga, I also really love the intro scene where we get to see Killua assassinating people. Also, any excuse to see deep sea fish is fine by me. That Hatsu ducking rocks. So basically just saying the animation looks really pretty. And
this is actually very similar to what we said when talking about it. Yeah.
I can't really disagree. That's one of the best parts about the movie is just the animation specifically. I can't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
One thing that's super noticeable here is the 2011's problem with sound design. 2011 has always had mismatches between the sound design and the action portrayed. I have less of a problem with it than others, but it's often cited as a major difference between the OG adaptation and 2011. This movie is almost a caricature of this problem. In addition, I'm shocked how much of the OG soundtrack they reused and rehashed. It connects it to the anime, but it almost feels lazy. I don't know how to describe it, it just broke me out of it. And I can kind of see that as well. Like, again, I kind of mentioned in the discussion, the OST does feel like kind of like just a best of montage at times.
It does, but the original tracks in it are really good, so it's hard for me to complain. And I don't know. As somebody who watches a lot of anime movies, it's stock standard. Like, I don't know. It's just how it works. Like, they reuse the soundtrack. It's just how it goes. And I mean, Hunter x Hunter honestly benefits from that because the Hunter x Hunter soundtrack is already very cinematic, in my opinion, at least. So I think it would fit pretty well.
It's very cinematic, and they have a lot of tracks to choose from.
Oh yeah,
too.
Tons.
And I think this movie showcases that. Honestly, they use so many throughout the series in various different points, and it's very like even comparing to other major series, like I don't know, I don't even know if One Piece has like as many like not genre defining, like series defining like tracks, just like as many as Hunter x Hunter does, anyways, right? That I can like think of off the top of my head and recognize immediately. You know,
there's a lot, but I mean, yeah, Hunter x Hunter is just a very iconic soundtrack. So.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get across. So like, it's not a bad thing to me, but I could see how like it can maybe be jarring to some people.
Right.
I like to dabble in a bit of Hunter x Hunter power scaling. God help you.
Whoa.
And I got to say, thank God this is non-canon. We can agree to that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can agree with that.
There's so much that stood out to me, but as an example, even if the puppets are weaker than their bases, given we see Vogan vaporize a building by, let's check the notes here, punching air, and Killua go and survive a punch from this guy somehow. They should be before in the middle of Greed Island. How can any of this make sense? Given the brick of text I'm posting, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you could probably say a lot about power scaling with this movie, but we are not into that.
We're not into power scaling, but we did kind of mention a little bit as well about how, like, you know, the implication of the puppets relative to their counterparts is very weird and just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
super weird.
All over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Actual story implications. Kurapika says that given Omokage was there for the massacre and has the mark, he can use Change Ale given he's not a member. Now, the story is non-canon, but this does give a counter-argument to my personal belief Chrollo is after Change Ale. Huh?
Okay.
We see Bandit's secret is beholden to the perception of the original user. Hisoka neither has a tattoo nor was at the massacre. Though I will say these factors are non-exhaustive. It proves that Change Ale could potentially work on a non-active spider, not merely that these two factors have to be met. I personally think the fact he specifies these two criteria instead of you being in the spider is a blight on my theory, however, though this is as non-canon. As this is non-canon, my impeccable judgment is not contradicted yet. Fair enough, I guess. We did kind of... I don't know if we mentioned in discussion. I don't think we did. But I remember when we were watching it together, Kaige, you kind of had the same question as well. Like, does Change Ale work in this case? Like, given that he's not, like, technically a part of the troupe?
It's a weird gray area. I just... My thing with saying that when we were watching was just more so my discomfort and distaste, I guess, and the fact that that kind of thing was said in a movie. Mm-hmm. Like that's definitely a question about Kurapika's ability, and I don't like that a movie tried to tackle it. Like, I feel like we're gonna get there at some point and actually have that questioned in the series.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know.
We'll see, I guess. But this comment is really long, so I'm gonna go ahead and just skip to the very last paragraph for this to save time and read other people's responses. This will be on the screen still for the YouTube version now. Yeah. Saying, overall, this is better than I heard. It's easy to give in to the hate, but I enjoyed the brief action. This would have been more fun if it was a little later in the story, though, and the cast had their Hatsu.
Yeah.
As is they kind of have the bland interactions with the antagonist and rehash a lot of the ideas of the OG story in worse methods. But any excuse to see indoor fish again, so 7 out of 10 minimum.
Oh wow, 7 out of 10.
Big indoor fish fan.
Yeah, I do love indoor fish, but yeah, the Hatsu point is great because I mean Kurapika has it at least, but yeah, it definitely hurts having Killua and Gon just using Nen and that's it. Like,
yeah,
you can't really have like a big moment because they don't have their signature things yet.
I don't have.
And weirdly enough, Killua doesn't even use any like assassin arts in this movie except at the beginning.
But they opened with that in like the flashback sequence. But
that
like,
could have been a cool moment.
Dream sequence.
Yeah, the dream. Yeah.
But like he's still an assassin. Yeah. Like he could have done something with that maybe.
Yeah,
you know? But
yeah,
they didn't.
That's like his thing. No fishing rod moment for Gon.
I just blocks with none. That's it.
No yo-yos.
Yeah, no yo-yos at all. I mean,
nothing. Yeah, Gon and Killua actually kind of got shafted. They didn't get to do any of their cool stuff in this movie.
Yeah, I'm hoping whenever we get to the last mission that that part will improve at least. But good points though overall. You're rating it higher than either me or Kaige would. I'm pretty sure. But like there is a couple things to enjoy here, but it's just surrounded by so much like nothingness that like it's hard to really say that it's like those are pluses even because like you don't really see them often. So
yeah,
it is what it is. But I encourage you guys to read the rest of this comment as well whenever you have the time. And thank you for writing it in. Yeah,
thank you for such a detailed comment about this movie. That made my day to see something written up about this movie like that. I love to talk about dumb shit like this on a high level, so that was cool.
Absolutely.
All right, next comes from Hadragon on Twitter, who says it's the better of the two films and has some good moments, but overall falls flat in its writing and every other moment when it's not adapting Volume 0. Couldn't agree more. Yeah,
you saying it's the better of the two films has me worried for the last mission.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. We've never seen Last Mission, so okay. Let's see.
We'll see, I guess, but that's not a good sign. I don't know what to expect out of that now.
I sure don't either. Okay, huh.
Next from Max, which some of you might recognize as Page Max from YouTube, making his Twitter debut.
That's crazy.
Here are some thoughts. It is a bad movie that doesn't deserve to be associated with Hunter x Hunter. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
I cannot even disagree with that.
No, I do not disagree at all. I hear you.
Good thing it's non-canon. That's the most it has going for it.
Exactly. Next comes from Shirakage on Bluesky. Who says, I think the villain was interesting enough for a movie. Oh, okay. If in Togashi's hands, he could easily be a low-level York New villain that dies immediately in his first fight but leaves a great impression. He would have a different design, though, if that were the case. He would not look like that. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Also, since York New has two sides, Gon and Kurapika's adventures, his sister could still play the same role, helping Gon, etc. I think between the two movies, this was definitely the better one. Oh, boy.
Oh, no,
okay.
Kaige.
We're in trouble. We're in trouble. Yeah, actually, I would kind of like to see that plot intertwined with York New. Not actually like on paper in canon, but it would kind of be interesting to see it play out during York New rather than whatever happened here.
Yeah.
It could easily be slotted in. Like a filler arc or something would be neat.
If Hunter x Hunter were to do like filler, then like that would seem like crime filler material, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It could fit in a lot better that way. Definitely doesn't work as what it was here, though.
Yeah. Next up, we got Milu Kitty from Bluesky saying, "Yeah, it's a no for me. I didn't enjoy it, and most of the time, I pretend this and the other OVAs doesn't exist." So I don't actually know much about the OVAs.
Yeah, the OVAs are just Greed Island. For 99. Are those bad? I actually have no idea.
Maybe we'll have to watch those on the show sometime too.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know about those. But I would also like to pretend this doesn't exist if I can even bring myself to remember it going forward. So
yeah, I mean, we're here doing like a 2-hour episode about it, so it might be a little more cemented in our brains. But
a little bit, but
it'll fade eventually.
Yeah.
Next comes from This Is Me 2014, who says, I watched it a while back, but I remember that in the flashbacks with Kurapika, they even ruined that. that badly.
I wouldn't
but-
say they ruined it. It's just not as good. Let's calm down now, people.
Yeah. Kurapika meant to be a little kid. In the movie, they made him bigger. Yeah, I mentioned that when we were watching. I think they really did make him bigger, Dylan.
Yeah.
That must
I
be
can see
real.
it.
I wasn't sure. I pointed out while we were watching, but I wasn't entirely sure. But yeah, I'm pretty sure like in the manga, he was about the same size as Pyro, but he was noticeably taller in the movie.
That sounds right.
And cut off the beginning part and the Sheila stuff too. Yeah, they did do that. If the anime ever returns, I want them to add a flashback to Volume 0 just when Kurapika sees Pyro in Chapter. Oh, that's a great. Yeah.
That would be so good, actually. Whoa.
Wow, that's an amazing point to put it in too. Yeah, wow.
Madhouse,
Wow.
this is free.
Yeah.
Free advice, free episode idea for you guys.
Yeah, there you go. There's a whole episode you can just slot in there to
Just
have it be longer.
make that episode right before you bring them back. Like that'd be
perfect. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Nice idea there. That's great.
Good idea. Yeah, completely tangent from this movie discussion, but
Yeah.
we got to get some good stuff out of this. But yeah, thank you for writing in. That's very good points.
Mm-hmm.
Next comes from Issa from the YouTube community post. If this is the movie that introduced Kurapika, his backstory, then I really liked it. Oh, okay. Because as far as I knew, the anime didn't go into it, so for introducing that in the movie made it really good to me. I think it was like 2 or 3 years later than that before I read it in the manga. And that backstory in the manga was really something to think about, and also let the Phantom Troop part a little open what really happened. So you like the movie purely for it just adapting Volume 0 in general, is what I'm getting from this. Which I can respect it, but at the same time, it's such a small part of the movie that I can't really judge it off of that alone personally. But
yeah. Dylan also actually, you watched this movie before you read Volume 0 too, so that's a similar experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think you had quite as strong of an impression at the time.
No. Maybe it was because I was expecting more out of it too, even on my first watch. This is the Volume 0 stuff. How is this going to play into the movie? And then it doesn't. So
It doesn't, yeah. It's just kind of there.
It's just set up for Pyro Puppet. Whoa. Okay.
But yeah, if you're if there's for some reason somebody who's just totally allergic to manga, you just can't do it, I guess it's nice that there is a way to see part of the story. But I just read it, man.
Just
I don't
read
know.
it. Just
Unless
read
you
it.
can't read. I don't know.
Audiobook it somehow.
Yeah. Listen to our episode about it. That's honestly better than watching this. All right, next comes from Weary Exile. I'll give this movie one thing. It was definitely better than the second one. Oh, damn, Dylan. We're
3 for
screwed.
3 now?
We're
no.
screwed.
How bad is Last Mission, guys? What?
I don't know a single damn thing about it.
No, don't spoil it for us either, because it'll make this next episode.
Yeah, no.
funny.
Don't tell me a single thing.
I'm shocked, is all.
The premise of meeting a former troop member, and number 4 at that, well, that sure as hell seemed exciting, but at the end of the day, Omokage is not canon, and the movie itself was mediocre. True that.
Sure was.
The mystery of who were number 4 and 8 is one of those long-running mysteries that I hope Togashi will somehow tackle in the next batch of chapters. I don't know about that soon, but one day.
Maybe one day. It could be interesting. I'll give it that.
If he plans to give us a second troop flashback, and I'm almost certain he will. I've been saying that for a while. I totally think we're going to continue that later, and I'm almost certain he will. Since there are still a lot of gaps remaining.
Yeah.
What was Sheila's role? Was Kakin mafia families, and namely Haley, somehow involved in the Kurta clan massacre and child abductions from Meteor City? Why did the troop attack the Kurta clan? And why Pariston Hill is definitely Sheila.
Right,
you guys and your Pariston Sheila shit.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm totally with you about that we're definitely gonna get a continuation one day.
Here's hoping. I would love to see it. Next comes from the Young Knight, saying the only good part was that they partially covered Volume 0, although they dropped the ball on that as well by removing Sheila. Again, they didn't completely remove her. They didn't erase her, but I do wish they showed 2 minutes of her at least instead of 5 seconds.
Yep, exactly.
I do wish for that as well. So, bit of a downside to it.
Yep.
But hey, I'm gonna keep saying I don't think this adaptation, if you want to call that a Volume Zero, wasn't like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I really don't think it was that bad, guys. Like, it's totally serviceable.
It gets the main points across.
Yeah,
So,
like you get it. And it's nice to see, like, as, we're people who have read it, it's cool to see those moments animated, even though it's not exactly one-to-one. I'd like to see the whole thing, but...
Something to keep in mind as well is, like, the Sheila stuff is really not relevant at all whatsoever until you reach the Phantom Troop flashback within Succession War.
Yeah.
And that's when it becomes, like, revelation, like, eye-opening material.
Uh-huh.
But before you get to that point, which I'm assuming a lot of people who watched this movie at the time, like, they didn't even get to that, right? Within
No.
Yeah, they were far from that. So, like, I don't know. Like, I think it's totally reasonable to consider that they probably just didn't think that's a major focal point of Volume Zero, which it wasn't at the time. So, like, I'm not going to give too much slack on them for cutting Sheila, because we wouldn't have known in 2013 how important Sheila would be, let alone to the Phantom Troop.
Yeah. Okay, next comes from Sophia716. And we're going to try to move a little faster because I think we can actually get through all of these comments if we just pick up the pace a little. So just sorry if we speed up a little. I liked it, though it's not canon except for Kurapika's backstory. We still saw our main four together again. What I didn't like about it was I feel they focused more on Killua's side when it should be Kurapika's story. Hey, exactly what we were talking about. Really... Killua reads as the main character the whole way through until the end, really.
Which isn't a bad thing, but again, they advertise Kurapika everywhere for this movie, so
yeah,
like, it just makes no
false
sense.
advertising.
Yeah, they just use Volume Zero to their advertising advantage.
Yep.
Is really what it reads as.
Yep.
Next comes from Lilligant Listener saying, I like that actually. I can summarize this quality of this movie with just this problem. Omokage somehow managed to get the eyes of Uvo for his puppet, despite Uvo being buried in the middle of a desert near no signs of civilization and no noticeable traces of his burial, with the only living witness of Uvo's death being Kurapika. How did Omokage know that Uvo was dead? Wait, that's a really good point.
That's an amazing point.
How did he know to look in the desert for his body? How did he manage to even find the body in the desert when he's essentially looking for a needle in a haystack? All are good questions. The movie doesn't even bother to answer. It's quite exemplary of this movie's bad writing.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't.
And
even
honestly,
that.
There's so many things like that you can just nitpick about. They just don't care. They didn't even bother. They thought it would be cool if Uvo was in the movie, and that's it. That's all they thought about it.
Yeah. That's literally all they thought. Which, like, respectable to a degree, but like make it make sense at least.
Yeah.
And like when I see questions like this be brought up, and it's like, yeah, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense at all. It just makes me think of it even worse. So like.
Yep. Exactly.
That's funny though. Wow.
Yeah. Next comes from Monographic Single-Headed MSP2WK, who says, I didn't enjoy it. It meddled with the Nen lore far too much. That movie is a mess, in my honest opinion. But the OST release with the movie is golden. Thank you. Yes, it's great. I really like it. I'm going to be listening to the original tracks probably after we record this, honestly.
Yeah. It's good music. Good stuff indeed.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't blame me for not enjoying it.
No.
Next comes from I'm just gonna say Luca. I'm not gonna attempt the rest of that.
Fair enough.
Sorry. I liked part of it, despite the stuff outside of Kurapika's past not being canon, and part of his past being cut. Like more details about Sheila and some stuff about Pyro. Also, again, despite not being canon, it shows another specialist kind of awakening their Nen ability instead of creating it. Oh, that's a kind of decent point.
True. That's true.
Omokage
I didn't mention that. Yeah, Omokage like awakened to it.
They also don't elaborate on it at all. So like,
no. So I guess technically maybe he didn't. That could have just been like an abridged way to show it happening. Who knows? It doesn't matter at all. But you can at least read it as that.
It's kind of neat, but
it is, yeah.
Yeah. And again, like a lot of these comments point out, I do also wish they showed more of Kurapika's past Volume Zero. But
we all do. Just they could have just added like another 10 minutes to the runtime, and they could have got it.
Yeah.
But whatever. Next is from Unikimi, who says, I hate this film, but Kurapika was such a vibrant and cute kid. It's good to see bits of his childhood backstory. I can imagine Kid Chrollo and Kid Kurapika getting along. Yep, I think that's very intentional, actually.
Yep.
They're both kind of nerds and highly intelligent. They could have done Volume 0, but the actual brutal murders have never actually been shown in the manga. It's still a mystery, and the studio more than likely couldn't touch this plot line, so they gave us Omokage.
And why even include it in the first place is my counter question.
Yeah, exactly. Even the animation quality wasn't the best. I mean, at some points for sure, but I think the highlights are actually really nice looking. The concept of the soul doll was nonsensical, and it's making Omokage OP for a Nen user.
Yeah. We didn't even touch on that in the discussion about how like kind of broken like his ability seems.
It's crazy. Like he can just basically create clones of people for free, really.
Yeah, and with Nen abilities.
There's like no known condition really. He just kind of does it. Like, what's the drawback?
That's a high level threat right there. Like, why was this guy running around? Like,
Netero would have had to step in for this one if he was real.
Yeah.
How did he even find Uvo? LOL. Yeah. The fights couldn't even save this film for me. I mean, the fights are kind of the worst part of the movie, honestly. So yeah, they definitely don't save it for me.
Yeah, again, just eye candy, no substance. That's all they are.
Yeah.
But yeah. Thank you for writing in though. Next up is from a Sopa Piglobo. Hope I said that right.
That sounds right.
It's been so long since I watched it that I don't remember much. TBH. It was better than the second one at least. Ha ha.
Damn.
4 for 4.
No,
dude.
It's over.
I think I like them a little bit just because it reminds me what a good writer Tagashi is, and we got Illumi in that slutty outfit, I guess. LMAO.
Yeah, you're kind of right. That outfit is kind of wild.
Yeah.
Got like an open back.
But I don't know if it reminds me of what a good writer Tagashi is, because it feels like Tagashi didn't write any of this.
No, what he's saying is like this is so bad that it just further accentuates how good Togashi is.
Okay, I agree. I didn't perceive that initially. Yeah, I agree. My bad.
Next comes from Final Form Keith. That's a rare write-in. Thank you for writing in, Keith.
Ooh.
This movie is kind of embarrassing. It makes Hunter x Hunter feel like any other bland shonen. Would be so tragic if this was anyone's only exposure to the series. So, wow, yeah, that sure would be tragic.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing you guys dunk on it, though. Well, we sure did.
I hope we did it justice. Yeah.
Did it justice, yeah.
Next up, we have a couple of comments from I Love Waffles. Finally, after 10 weeks covering Yaptors from the new Session War, we could move on to Peak. This movie took the source material and enhanced it in every way. Every single character was given justice. The story is so masterful that it should be a necessary watch for any Hunter x Hunter fan. The writers showed Tagashi how to write a good antagonist and graced us with Omokage. I don't think it's possible for Hunter x Hunter to reach this peak again. This movie single-handedly gave Hunter x Hunter the fame and acclaim it has today. It's a shame that a lot of Hunter x Hunter fans never experienced the true peak of the series due to it not being canon. In all seriousness, the movie was bad, but there is still stuff to enjoy. At least some of the fights were decent. I especially like the last fight. I like how we got to see the whole cast fighting together for the only time in the whole series, even if it's not canon.
Thank you. That was an amazing comment.
That was great.
Yes, that's something we didn't talk about a whole lot. Well, we did talk about it a little bit, but yeah, it is nice to see the whole crew together. You don't get to see that often.
All fighting
nice.
Together, especially. Yeah, that's
fight
cool.
Together. That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
But, movie was bad. I think that's very apparent.
It sure was. Yeah. Thank you. That was very funny. All right, and lastly from Edward S., who says, creating an entire filler plot with an antagonist in a series as densely packed and naturally moving as Hunter x Hunter is certainly a choice. Couldn't have said that better myself. Yeah.
Yep.
What were they doing? Why bother? Part of me wishes the entire movie was a meditation on Kurapika with a full showcase of his flashback as presented in the manga. Nothing important or plot heavy, but kind of showing an experimental and quiet aftermath of Kurapika's mental state post York New. Wow. That's great. I wish. Yeah.
I wish so much more.
That sounds amazing. Maybe the entire movie starts by him having nightmares. It would be like a short sequence of disjointed imagery before moving into his flashback. Then after his flashback, we get a little montage of his years before deciding on the exams. Then after the flashback, he wakes up abruptly and that's the ending. Oh, wow. Entirely in line with his character, but so uniquely interesting and contextualized imagery. Absolutely. Recently, Look Back came out, and it benefited by having a short runtime. So rather than 1.5 hours, cut it down to 40 to 60 minutes instead. Oh, well. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
If only. Yeah, that would have been much more preferable than what we got out of this.
Yeah, 100%. That would be a great idea. I would have loved that.
Yeah.
But nope, that's not what happened.
Nope. Unfortunately not. But yeah, that's all the comments we have to read for today's episode. Thank you guys for writing in, and be sure to keep an eye out for posts for the last mission coming up. For this next episode we have. I'm not too eager about it now after seeing so many of you say this movie was better than the second one.
That's concerning. Yeah. Wow.
Literally, how could it be any worse? That's what's boggling my mind right now.
You know what, Dylan? Here, I want to do a little something here.
Okay.
All right. Oh wait, not that. Hold on. Wait.
Very curious now.
So I'm gonna drop this in our doc. So this is the poster. Okay. So I want each of us. Let's just look at this poster and take a guess at what this movie is going to be about. Okay.
What in the world?
So you go ahead first.
Literally, all I can pull from this is that Netero is involved somehow. That's literally it.
It looks like he's
like a little big
captured.
Tower thing. Yeah.
There's like a tower. Netero's chained up. It looks like
there's some kind of what's that little like imagery to like his right? Like,
yeah, that must be the villain, right? Like some
has
weird
to be
thing.
I can't even tell what it is though.
Kurapika and Leorio are in it. Kurapika's in a suit.
Wow. Yeah, whoa. Kurapika's suit?
That'll be cool.
We do see they have their Hatsu, though, like, within the imagery.
Yes, they do have their Hatsu. That's fun.
So that's all I can really pull from it,
I cannot tell you a single thing. I have no idea. I don't know. I guess Netero's kidnapped, and somehow these 5 go after him.
Yeah, why is Hisoka being involved here again? Okay, I don't know.
I guess we'll find out next week.
We'll find out.
Okay, small prediction. Who are the cameos gonna be at the end?
The cameos?
This has to be like after Kite's dead, right? So like
probably
we're not gonna see him, but like, are we gonna see some ants? Like
maybe
gonna see like an Ikalgo cameo?
Gyro cameo. I'm calling it now.
Gyro. Wow, that would be crazy.
No, this is not happening. But I don't know.
Zodiacs, they might show maybe.
Like.
Yeah, Zodiac, that's possible. Maybe Jing again, probably. Maybe he'll turn into fire.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. That's kind of all I can guess. Because, dude, hearing that this is somehow worse than Phantom Rouge, I just have no idea. Like, anything could happen now, in my mind.
Oh, man. Well, that's concerning. That is very concerning. So, we'll see. We'll see next week. Mm-hmm. I'm scared.
I am scared as well, but hopefully you guys can laugh at our misery in this next episode.
Yeah, I know absolutely nothing about that movie, so that'll be fun. So that's the end. With that, this has been the Hunter Association. Thank you so much for listening. We are available on all major podcasting platforms as well as YouTube for the video version. Be sure to follow, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod, as well as Bluesky at just THAPod for updates on the show and as an alternative way to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. As always, we will be here the same time every week talking about Hunter x Hunter. Dylan, where can people find you online?
Same socials as usual. You can find me at DJ Tengen. That's DJTENGEN on Twitter and Bluesky. Posting about all the nerdiest stuff in the world, including One Piece TCG as of late. That's been my main hobby of interest. Yeah, I don't know. I'm obsessed with it. It's been kind of a pain in the ass for my wallet. Look at this cool Nico Robin card that I pulled.
That is nice.
The other day. Yeah.
That's nice.
My prized possession right now. But if you want to see more random pulls from packs and such, you can follow me on those platforms if you're interested.
Yep, and you can follow me on Bluesky, Kaige10, that's Kiige10. And lately, just kind of tweeting about like just my interest, manga, anime, games a little bit here and there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Not much, but it is what it is. Yep. And so for the show next week, of course, we will be talking about The Last Mission. Yippee! I guess it's going to be amazing. And,
keep an eye out for community posts on that for writing in your thoughts.
Sooner rather than later. And
then also don't forget January 11th, 2025, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be hosting a live stream where we'll be announcing the winner of our current giveaway. Be sure to go enter that if you haven't already. More details in the description, maybe even in a pinned comment for this video on the YouTube version. And take a look at our socials as well if you're an audio-only listener for more information. Yes. Remember, only open to U.S. and Canadian residents at this time. That's the only place it can ship to right now. We apologize for that. It is what it is, though. And yeah, lock the date down.
That's right. And as far as the near future, so after Last Mission, we are actually going to take a little break. There will be no normal episode that week, but we are probably going to have like a little bonus episode only on YouTube, though. So audio listeners, yeah, probably shorter, but just a little something, so we're not completely absent that week. But we will not be recording anything that week. I can at least tell you that much. But we'll just be relaxing for the holidays, and But then we'll come back strong with our first episode of next year. I'm just gonna go ahead and announce it here. We're gonna be kicking off our character retrospective series, and the character that we'll be starting with is going to be Kurapika.
I think it's only fitting.
It's going to be a big one. That'll be a pretty big episode. I'm looking forward to doing the research for that, and that's going to be a good time. I think I'm excited to talk about Kurapika.
Yeah.
So yeah, get prepared for that one. Write some long essays about our boy. Go for it, man. I'll read them. But yeah, for the time being, last mission next week. Nothing the week after except bonus on YouTube, and then we'll be back strong next year, and we'll talk about what's going to happen from there. At that point, probably, because obviously we got to lock in like what we're doing until the manga is back. So we'll talk to you guys more about that in the near future.
Yep, and this is all poised to change as well, depending on hiatus stuff, obviously. But
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lesson here is keep an eye out for updates in the near future. We have a lot of cool stuff planned.
That's right. And we'll see you guys next week for The Last Mission. Yippee.
Yeah. Be there, be square, guys.
Yeah.